Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome to my channel. I am Commander Claw. I'm on YouTube to help you brew ideas and to deck build faster. So stay tuned to this video and watch everything about Chishiro the Shattered Blade. You're here for a reason, so let's get right into it. Chishiro the Shattered Blade, you already know he's a 4/4 snake samurai. Red, green, two colors. He's a legendary creature. You know what he's going to do. If you haven't already, I'll read it for you right now. It says, whenever an aura or equipment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace. Also, at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each modified creature you control. If you don't know what modified means, that means when a creature that you control, it has an equipment or an aura or a counter on it, that means it's modified, aka modification. So yeah, you want to take a what you want to call it? Yeah, just keep a note on that because that's super important when we get into other commanders. But anyway, I'm about to enlarge the photo so you can see clearly what he does. All right, so Chishiro. The reason why I like this commander because he can go wide and get stronger, right? So not only he's like an anthem where you boost up all your creatures at the same time. He also makes creatures, and also he's focusing on a aura and equipment type of theme, right? So you can take advantage of these. Um, I think the main way to win is through combat with this commander. Or if I find out a new way, I'll definitely make a video on it. But let's focus on commander damage for taking out your opponents. Bam, commander damage. Go smack them. So how are we going to do this? We got a couple cards that when they hit the battlefield is lights out for your opponents. If they do not have an answer, adios. Sayonara. Since he's a samurai, right? Okay, of course, we got to have Embercleave, one of the most infamous, most powerful red artifact equipments out there. I don't even know the price of this, but it is a little pricey. And honestly, to be honest with you, I go to my LGS and I see guys with all the cards, all the good cards. So I don't even know what they mean by budget friendly decks. Like, there's so many people with so much money that these cards are just regular cards. Anyways, okay, Embercleave is a 6 mana legendary artifact equipment that has flash, right? The spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. So keep in mind when you made 2/2 red spirit menace creature tokens from putting other aura and equipments into the battlefield, you have other possible attacking creatures, causing this CMC to be lower than 6. At at best, you could pay 2 red mana to put this into play at instant speed. Yes. Okay, third ability. It says when Embercleave enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. So yes, we will attach it to Chishiro the Shattered Blade. So when it enters the battlefield, what do? We put a 2/2 red spirit menace creature token into play. Bam! For as low as 2 red mana, we put in a 2/2 red spirit. Paid 4 less. Then his fourth ability, equipped creature gets +1/+1, has double strike, and trample. Wow. Do not underestimate all that. So +1/+1 is big. Double strike is even big. So in general, that would make Chishiro a 5/5 with double strike and trample, right? So at max, he could do 10 damage to your opponent. Then remember at the beginning of your end step, since he's a modified creature, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on him, making him a 6/6 double strike and trample. So the next time you swing big for commander damage, you could possibly do 12 damage. It only gets bigger and better after that. I don't need to explain. On to the next card. The Ozolith, if you don't know this, I'm sure you've seen it on EDH Rec. This blue sapphire crystal gem that's super expensive. It's like $30 probably still. I actually have one. I cracked it in a pack at Ikoria back in the day when it came out. So lucky. Anyway, for 1 mana, it's a legendary artifact that says whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it had counters on it, put those counters on the Ozolith. Okay, so all those +1/+1 counters that were on your modified creatures, when they die, they go onto the Ozolith. Then it says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozo has counters on it, you may move all counters from the Ozo live onto target creature. So before combat, make sure you choose which creature you want to move counters onto, preferably your commander, so you can do big boy commander damage and win for the game. Moving on. Easy card, easy. Okay, we have the Keswick Wolf Run. It's a land. You've seen it before in the land section of EDH Rec. It's a no-brainer, especially for gruul. Tap it, add a colorless. Tap X, red, green, and tap the land itself. Target creature gets +X+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Wow. Yeah, yeah. And remember, the good thing about this card, it is instant speed. Instant speed. That means you can use it to be defensive or swing with your commander offensively, and at the last second, put this ability on the stack. Yeah. Okay. So this section is more about the equipments and combats, how they can go together. Uh, of course, you're going to be making more red spirit creature tokens with menace. Okay, because we got some cool equipments coming into play. Let me tell you. Okay, we got the blacksmith's talent from the Bloomburrow set. It is a enchantment class. The first ability for 1 red mana. When it ETBs, when it enters the battlefield, create a colorless equipment artifact token named Sword with equipped creature gets +1/+1 and equip 2. Okay, cool. +1/+1, no biggie. But when it comes into play for 1 red mana, you get a 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace. Don't sleep on these low CMC artifact spells that put in equipments into play. Okay, in order to go to level 2, you need to tap 3 mana. Remember, you can only go up levels at sorcery speed. So that means on your turn. And not at instant speed. Okay. Level 2 says at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach target equipment you control to up to 1 target creature you control. So you get to avoid paying all those equip costs. So if you have that powerful sword that gives +1/+1 for each land you control, imagine attaching it for free. For free at the beginning of combat on your turn. For free. All right. Level 3. Tap 4 mana. 3 colors and a red. During your turn, equipped creatures you control have double strike and haste. Yes, I paused because you heard that right. Equipped creatures you control have double strike and haste. So if your commander is equipped with the sword artifact, it gets double strike and haste. No brainer. And this is after he's already been buffed. But you already got other big, beefy, and better looking artifact equipments out on the battlefield anyway before this actually hits the battlefield. So overall, this is a good card just to give the double strike ability and be on the board early. Early. Okay, next up we have Brass Knuckles. You probably have this in your comment section, but this is a sneaky good equipment. It says for 4 colors is the artifact equipment. When you cast this spell, copy it. Equipped creature has double strike as long as 2 or more equipments are attached to it. Equip 1. Okay, so when you play this card and you have Chishiro out, you get 2 spirit tokens because Chishiro says whenever an aura or equipment enters the battlefield, bam, you got the original copy, then the token copy of an artifact equipment come on to the battlefield. So for 4 mana, you got 2/2 red spirit tokens with menace. Moving on. Now you got to do something with all those creatures that you have on the battlefield. Those 2/2 red spirit tokens with menace. I should have did that earlier. That's kind of fun, right? Um, it's called 5 Alarm Fire, right? It's a 3 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, put a blaze counter on 5 Alarm Fire. Remove 5 blaze counters from 5 Alarm Fire. 5 Alarm Fire deals 5 damage to target creature or player. So the good thing is your creatures have menace. That requires your opponents to have at least 2 creatures to block. So whenever you swing with one of these 2/2s or multiple 2/2s and you get in for combat damage, oh man, Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I read this wrong. This card is better than I thought because it says whenever a creature you can control deals combat damage. So when your opponent's blocked with two creatures and you swing with one 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace, you dealt one combat damage each to those creatures. So that's two counters. Oh, that is fire. That is fire. So that's literally a 2-for-1. You can thank me later. So, like I'm going to say, oh, next slide. If you found this video helpful and want more ideas to help your deck build, join the channel. Subscribe now. Oh, I had to. You know I had to. All right, all right. This is for chaos players only. If you are afraid to be chaotic and red, this card is not for you. You ain't got the cojones. You ain't got the balls to play loose, to play wild, to play uncontrollable. On to this card. Curse of Hospitality. For three, two colors in a red. It's an enchantment or a curse. It says enchant player. That means you attach it to a player, just like a sticky note. No, not really. It says creatures attacking enchanted player have trample. That goes for creatures that your opponents control too. Okay. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to enchanted player, that player exiles the top card of their library. Until end of turn, that creature's controller may play that card, and then they may spend mana as though it was any mana of any color to cast that spell. Okay, this is a really good card for red green decks, gruul commanders to see more cards because card draw is kind of tough without some kind of commitment, I must say. So, when is the ideal time to use this card? Ideally, is when it's a 1v1, right? So that way you're the only person or player attacking one player, and there's nobody else who can take advantage of this. If you decide to use it when you had every player into the game, that's when it's going to get chaotic because all those other players will be enticed, tempted, teased to attack that player with this enchantment or a curse attached to them because they want to see more cards. They want to cast more spells. So I say save this for a 1v1 if you want to be on the safe side. But if you want to be chaotic and see what can happen, Curse Hospitality is the card for you. Thank you for watching Chishiro the Shattered Blade. All cards about combat finishers and equipments. I got 3 more videos about Chishiro, so make sure you click somewhere up here. There's going to be boxes for these videos of more Chishiro and more ideas and help you deck build faster with the Shattered Blade.